hand is a straddle pot. Early position, who's one of my good poker friends, raises to 30. I'm in the small blind with pocket nines, and I choose to flat this one, and we are going heads up. Before I dive through the rest of this hand, just want to provide some additional context. My friend and I do not soft play one another, meaning that we don't check it down and we just play straight up poker. I share this because I've seen situations where two friends are at a table and they don't have that mutual understanding, and it's ended in conflict more often than not. So just putting this out there in case you play with your friends. Back to the hand, we go to a flop of king 6-3. It's a dry flop where advantage is on his end, although I probably have pocket sixes just as much and pocket threes more often. My buddy and I do discuss poker, so we have a sense on how the other constructs hands. I check, he c-bets as expected, $35. I peel looking for a non-Broadway turn. Fourth street comes the ace of diamonds, so not a good card. And when he fires 70, this pot is going to him. Next hand, I've got 9-10 of hearts from under the gun and raise it to 20. Middle position calls, and cutoff puts in a 3-bet to 105. Should probably fold this since I'm at bottom, meaning that I can have a lot of other better hands that I can continue with, but I decide to make the call, and we go heads up to a flop of ace-7-4 rainbow. I check, and he checks back. Turn comes an 8 of hearts, great card for my hand. I check, and he puts in a bet of 75. At this point, he should be split between jacks through kings or a slow played ace-king or ace-queen. I decide to put in the check raise to press my equity and make it 280. He doesn't think too long and calls, looking for a good river, which comes a 9 of diamonds. While I don't make my hand, it's definitely an interesting card. My exact hand is key since my opponent can't have jack 10. The issue is if my opponent has a protected check back range on the flop with the aforementioned ace-queen or ace-king, which I'm not sure, and thus giving me the hesitation to follow through with a jam. I do have a little bit of showdown value against hands such as king-queen, king-jack, and queen-jack of hearts, but my gut is telling me to follow through with the aggression to get him off jacks through kings. Well, I unfortunately get gun shy, perhaps due to the recent run bad, not playing with the most confidence, and I decide to check it back. He knuckles and tables, pocket jacks to take it down. Obviously a good call by him on the turn. The jack of hearts in his hand was interesting since he did block hearts, but it also made it a bit less likely that my turn raise was a bluff. Nevertheless, he takes this one down. Under the gun in this next one again, this time with queens, and I raise it to 20, and I get 3 callers, the middle position, hijack, and button. 4 ways to a flop of 9-9-4 with 2 clubs and a heart. I fire a c-bet of 30, and only the middle position calls. Turn comes an 8 of spades. Good card since there's only one combo of 8-9 suited. I think he's got some non-believing pairs all the way through jacks, and I like to target those holdings with a $120 bet. He calls. River comes a 4 of spades, so a really good card as my hand can just look like ace high. I fire a pretty large bet of 340. He calls. I table, and it's actually no good as he shows pocket aces for the slow play to take it down. Next hand, middle position raises to 20. I 3-bet it from the small blind to 80 with pocket jacks. Folds back to the middle position. He's playing around 220 to start the hand, so definitely don't mind a jam from him, but he decides to just call. We go to a flop of ace-king-4 rainbow. Pretty bad flop for jacks. I check, and he checks back. Turn comes a deuce of spades. I check hoping to get to showdown. Instead he jams for the 140, and I just decide to lay it down. If he's making a play, then credit to him. Next hand, hijack raises to 20, small blind calls, and I come along from the big blind with queen 10 offsuit, and we go 3 ways to a flop of king queen 6 rainbow. Checks to the initial raise on the hijack, who bets 35. Small blind folds, I call. Turn comes an ace of clubs. Interesting card as I've got the nut club blocker. I choose to lead this turn for a smallish amount of 40 since my opponent has 210 back. He tanks and makes the call. River comes a 6 of clubs, so backdoor clubs do come in. I don't anticipate being up against a full house that often. In an effort to fold out a king, queen, or even an ace at times, I jam for his 170 effective, and he makes the call. He tables ace-8 offsuit, and unfortunately things aren't working out so far, both with premiums and adventurous hands. Next hand is another fun one. Early position limps, hijack raises to 25, button and small blind call. I'm in the big blind with pocket kings. Good spot to 3-bet. I make it 175. Early position who limped puts in the limp re-raise to 380. Hijack, the initial raiser, jams for 391. And no other way to put it, this is a shitty spot. It feels like the early position limp re-raiser has aces all day and would actually just fold as an exploit in this spot had it just folded back to me. But with the hijack jamming, I'm getting decent odds to call, and I'm closing the action. So I put in the chips, and early position calls for the $11 more. We go to a flop that comes ace high. I check, he bets, I'm not going to chase and fold. Early position tables, pocket aces for top set, and the board runs out an 8 of clubs and a jack of diamonds. Hijack tables, pocket jack, so I would have lost to that hand as well. A couple more to run through. I raised a 20 with ace queen offsuit from under the gun, hijack and small blind call. We go to a flop of king 7-4 with a couple of spades and a heart. I choose not to c-bet and it checks through. Turn comes a jack of clubs, small blind leads for 25. I peel for that price and the hijack calls as well. River comes a 3 of diamonds, action checks through, and small blind tables an interestingly played pocket queens to take this one down. Last hand to run through, I raise it to 20 from middle position with queen jack of hearts, button calls, and small blind puts in a 3-bet to 80. The big blind cold calls. I've got a suited Broadway, and I feel like I'm due to hit a flop, so I make the call, and the button calls as well. Looking for some hearts, and it comes 7-4-3, all black. The only thing red that I'm seeing is my bankroll, unfortunately, and the only thing that I'm locking up in this session is more profits for my opponents. I officially set a record for my vlog, as well as I think all vloggers. This is the first session where every notable hand is a losing one. All right, as you can see, not wrapping up this video from Lucky Chances. I was perhaps too tilted to say anything of value at the end of that session. Some time has passed in San Jose today to get some beverages from a spot called Celsius. They're doing a nice little program where some of the proceeds get donated to some of the issues that are happening in the Asian community related to violence. So supporting that for that reason. And you also get some free BTS pictures if that's something of interest to you or your partner. Come check this place out, Celsius in San Jose. As for the results of the poker, got in the game for $3,000, out for $11.90. So took a pretty big loss of $18.10. And that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Thanks for supporting as always. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one.